Warning: the following video may contain excess levels of spook, and/or stupidity, along with old-school RuneScape footage. Please do not watch if you cannot handle such things. You have been warned. Hello everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my very first video, so please be kind. Today we are going to be watching some old-school RuneScape footage from my stream, while we read some cool green texts. They're going to be extra spooky because it is Spooktober. So, buckle up, settle in, find a snack, and let's get to the stories. Story 1. The Day of All the Blood by Jonathan Wojcik, aka Bob Leach. This is the story of the day where there was all this blood. A man was walking around and blood started coming out of him everywhere. There was so much blood that it filled up an elevator. He went to the store and there was just blood all over the place. People were slipping in it and they were all grossed out. He tried to go swimming and all the sharks went nuts and bit into everybody. He got chased by all the vampires ever. One time the blood got a kid and a dog. At the end of the day, everyone decided that they would send him to space so that he would stop getting blood everywhere. The scariest part? That man was you! Or he was a lady if you are a lady, and you forgot this all happened. Ooh, that was some spooky stuff. Now it's time for our next story. Story number 2. Car Trouble by Unknown. A few years ago, a man was walking down the road because his car broke down, and he saw a car coming up behind him, so he stuck his thumb to hitchhike, and the car stopped ahead of him. He ran up to the passenger side and opened the door. When he opened the door, a skeleton popped out! Nothing scarier than a skeleton, but perhaps this next story can top it. Story number 3. The Smile by Loser YT. Ben Affleck graduated from high school. Ben Affleck had to smile for the picture. Ben Affleck thought, I don't even like smile. But he had to smile. They forced him to smile. But then his face became pale. Then he smiled. People who were close to him died. If you look at him, you die. Info. If you look at him, your life ends there. People started calling him the Face. When they contained him, he was in a dark, dampy room. That's where the photo took place. And after 100 years, his teeth started to fall off, his teeth started to bleed. His eyes were open for so long, his eyes were red. He started to frown, blood was all over the floor. When people heard about this, they started to call him the Frown. After the teeth fell off, they started to give him a new name that will stay forever. Toothless. Others say the Smile and the Frown is a better name. The Frown or the Smile is still getting new names to this day. After his picture was taken, he died of a heat stroke. He also started to bleed. No one could hear his scream of terror, as he was locked in a dampy room. The walls were soundproof. Anyone that walked past his room didn't hear. As he screamed of terror, his vocal cord ripped out and popped. He couldn't speak or scream anymore. All hope was lost, Ben Affleck said. But then he heard a noise from inside his room. The night guard's words, as soon as I entered the room, I saw him dead on the black, dampy floor. The second night guard's words were, when I entered his rooms, I saw a weird circle with stars in the middle. I knew something or someone was in here. I ran out of there. I called for help. Everyone thought I was joking. When I saw his body, I called manager, but he thought I was lying. Same thing happened to Juan. Everyone thought I was the one that killed him. They're all so stupid. Time for my revenge. Juan was telling the truth. Even I saw it. To this day, I'm still traumatized from what happened. I tried taking a picture, but then I fainted. I couldn't take a picture. I kept fainting and fainting. It was impossible to take a picture. Even on the cameras, I fainted. Somehow they needed glasses to prevent fainting. To this day, after I got out of jail, I get weird looks from everyone. Weirdly enough, they were all smiling. It was an infection. I thought they were joking when I looked in a mirror. I was smiling. P.S. We all wear masks to stop showing our ugly smiles. Story number 4. The Call by Unknown. So you're with your honey, and you're making out when the phone rings. You answer it, and the voice is, "What are you doing with my daughter?" You tell your girl, and she said, "My dad is dead." Then who was phone? Story number 5. The Death of Pinkie Pie by Unknown. Good morning, the worm, Your Honor. The crowd will plainly show the prisoner, who now stands before you, was caught red-handed showing feelings of an almost human nature. Oh, wait. Sorry, guys. Wrong poem, song, whatever. Here goes nothing with my bizarre tale. Once upon a time in Ponyville, there was a mare. This mare's name, she came from the rock farm. Her name was Pinkmina Diane Pie. It was a joy to be with her, while it lasted. On one winter night came an extremely rough snowstorm. We were all struck with famine. There was no more food left. There were severe cases of hypothermia and frostbite. The snowstorm destroyed our houses. Several ponies were croaking. The snowstorm leveled our Ponyville into a tundra. No, seriously. But worst of all, she was dying. Our mare, Pinkie Pie. We all shed a tear, for our mare was dead. Her husband came at the very moment, his name being Cheese Sandwich, sharing both their last French kiss. Both were now cold, lifeless corpses. I could feel the cold. Every pony around me was dying. I was now alone in this world. Everything's fading out. It's all over for Ponyville. Ooh, spooky. Story number 6. The Legendary Biggie Bag by Unknown. Ponder for a moment, if you will, about this scenario. It's a chilly Friday, and you have just finished school for the day. You hop in your car and turn on your favorite radio station and begin to drive to the comfort of your home. Everything is going right, except you hear a loud rumble come from your stomach. You are malnourished. You must find something to feast on. But how? Due to Joe Biden's presidency, all the food has gone up in price. At least what you think. Introducing Wendy's Biggie Bag. This monster of a meal will feed you for only $5 and maybe even save you some extra fries for gaming later. You see, the Biggie Bag includes a box of nuggets, an exquisite burger topped with bacon and made from the finest beef, and a side of fries. You can also choose a free drink along with the Biggie Bag, such as a root beer or a refreshing all-natural lemonade. So you may be thinking, this is surely not enough food for me. If this is the case, you can order a large Biggie Bag and get a double stack burger with large fries and nuggets to maximize the amount of time you can play Genshin Impact before refueling again. You see, the Biggie Bag really is a revolutionary invention. All other fast food bundles quake at its sight. They shake like earthquakes and fall as a brick. I would even argue that McDonald's removed its McRib from the menu due to their superior competitor, the Biggie Bag. Not only is the Biggie Bag extremely economic, but it also contains the highest quality of all fast food meals. The fries are always hot and crispy, crunching with every bite. The nuggets are made from only the finest cock meat, and you are cooked to the finest tenderness. The Biggie Bag truly is a landmark invention of the 21st century. I would even argue its creation is more impactful than the Industrial Revolution. If I was in charge of the school system, I would dedicate an entire section to the history books. Conclusion? Wendy's Biggie Bag really is a suitable meal for everyone, no matter the financial status, gender, race, or profession. The Biggie Bag does not discriminate. The Biggie Bag is an insanely efficient use of our money, and tastes good going down. The Biggie Bag really is an invention of all time and deserves our recognition. Now grab your keys, fire up your car, and drive to your local Wendy's. Good day, sir. I think I should take a moment here to say that we are not brought to you by Wendy's, and that also was not very spooky. But do you know what is spooky? Diabetes. Story number 7. The Hook. Man and girl go out to drive under moonlight. They stop at side of road. He turned to his girl and say, "Baby, I love you very much." "What is it, honey?" "Our car is broken down and I think the engine is broken. I'll have to walk and get some more fuel." "Okay, I'll stay and look after our stereo. There have been news report of stereos being stolen." "Good idea. Keep the doors locked and no matter what, I love you, sweaty." So the guy left to get fuel for the car. After 2 hours, the girls say, "Where is my baby? He was supposed to be back by now." Then the girl hear a scratching sound and a voice say, "Let me in." The girl doesn't do it, and after a while she goes to sleep. The next morning she wakes up to find her boyfriend still not there. She gets out to check and man door hand car hook door. That was a very spooky one. Story number 8. Phone Call by Jerica12. One gay day in November, I got a phone call. "Hello there, Happy Fappy." How did he know my name? "I need you to do something for me. I want you to dance." "No," I said. "F*** that shit." A gun popped out of the phone screen. It was aimed at my penis. "You think this is a game, dipshit? I'll blow your dick off so you'll be a virgin forever." I was scared and yet slightly turned on. Nevertheless, it went flaccid soon enough, and I agreed with a sigh and some hesitation. The gun disappeared. "Good," the voice said. "Now dance!" I did, doing the tango, conga, and all the cheesy, shitty dances I knew. He fat to this. "Great, now go outside naked." I did. I was enjoying this. "Rub the snow on your man tits." I did. "Roll around in the snow and ram a snow penis." I did, and he burst, and then reloaded. "Now run up and down the street to this song." I got a message containing the song, and just as I was about to, he said, "Plug it into a large speaker." Sighing, I did, and ran up and down dancing to it. Eventually the cops arrested me for public nudity, getting someone pregnant, arson with my penis, murder, and somehow causing a riot because my balls were not shaved. For it, I got a 20-year sentence. I dropped the soap in jail and learned from my mistakes to never do that again. My inmate was a serial rapist. His name was Shrek, and he would discipline me every night. My ass was so sore when I left. Shrek told me before I left, "Follow your dreams." And my dreams were to do the exact same things over and over. I couldn't say no, so I did, and I keep getting that phone call, since I'm too stupid to change my number. It's a repeating cycle, but I cannot die, since Shrek gave me ogre piss, which grants me infinite life to drinkers. Help me! Ooh, that's really a thinker. Quite the scary story. Story number 9. Johnson and His Lasers by the denizens of the CPW chat. There was a boy named Johnson. Johnson wasn't normal. He had the habit of grabbing sharp objects and staring at them for hours, and due to that, he has several eye surgeries. These eye surgeries weren't your usual eye surgeries. Were they special? But how, you might ask? They were done through his ass. Because these special eye surgeries, Johnson could see things other people couldn't. Johnson could see the future. He could see how people died. He was the cause of most of them. This wasn't a surprise, considering how his eyes were now connected to his ass. The frustration of not being able to see made him angry, so he pushed Sally off a cliff. So one day he left for a deserted island. He hovered there using his ass lasers. He killed lots of fish along the way. He eventually reached the island using his ass lasers. Finally, he made it to the island at the cost of his arms. Waddling on the island ass first, he stumbled upon a cave. The cave was surprised at Johnson's butt lasers. The people of the cave worshipped Johnson and his ass lasers. Eventually, Johnson died of starvation, having not fed his hungry orifice in days. Number 10. The Amazing World of Gumball, Lost Episode, The Junkie, by Phantom Nightmare 47. I always learned to stay away from drugs and alcohol, knowing the dangers they bring. I don't smoke tobacco, I don't use steroids, and I don't drink beer. I've seen a lot of anti-drug PSAs as a kid. I was watching an episode of Amazing World of Gumball on HBO Max, excited for the upcoming 7th season. Hey viewers, what we have planned for the first ever PSA episode of The Amazing World of Gumball, said a voice belonging to Ben Bocquelet, the creator of The Amazing World of Gumball. This episode discusses the dangers of substance abuse and the consequences it has for both the user and their friends. This has some serious moments, so just you know, you have been warned. The opening song to The Amazing World of Gumball played in the background, and it showed the episode's title, The Junkie, with the instrumentals of Mississippi Queen by Mountain playing. It shows the students of Elmore Junior High School, with some of them being Gumball, Darwin, Anais, Carrie, Leslie, Bobbert, Banana Joe, Alan, Tina, Rex, Anton, and Tobias. Geez, Coach Ruscio was really running us ragged, said Gumball as he took a sip from the water fountain. If I have to do any more burpees, I think I'll pass out. Every muscle in my body is seriously sore, said Darwin, wincing with every step. I've heard of staying in shape, but this is just flat out ridiculous, said Alan, who now looked more angular for a balloon. Was Penny checking me out? Said Tobias, wondering if Gumball's girlfriend Penny Fitzgerald was noticing him. Dude, not everyone's attracted to jocks, said Gumball with a scowl on his face. Tobias rolled his eyes and did a Dr. LeVay-esque Giga Chad walk. His arrogance is going to get him in serious troubles one of these days, said Anais with a scowl. Mark my words. Personally, I wholeheartedly agree, said Gumball, agreeing with his 4-year-old genius sister. Later, as Tobias was walking, he looked to see a man beckoning to him. Hey, kid, I have something that'll really up your game in the gym with the girls, said the man, and he then handed Tobias a bottle full of 7 colored pills. Tobias took one, and his eyes turned rainbow colors. Yep, you're gonna be on top of the world, kid, said the man. He then handed Tobias the bottle. This is on me, but the next time, you're gonna have to pay from your own pocket. Then he walked back to his van. Yep, that was the Awesome Store, all right. And we hardly ever saw the Awesome Store's owners outside his van, which was strange. The next few days, Tobias's physicality was boosted. He could run faster, jump higher, lift several times his own weight, and more. But something was off. He had begun behaving erratically. His emotional state would flare out of control, and more. It was time for Gumball and Co. to investigate. What the what? Said Gumball as he picked up the pill bottle. He had 1 pill left. He decided to take it to Bobbert and Anais ASAP. He then took the pill bottle to Bobbert and Anais. Let's see here. Supercharge? That sounds more like an energy drink name than a name for pills, said Anais. She then put the pill in the vial and examined it with Bobbert. What they found made their blood freeze in their veins. You guys? Said Anais, looking worried. I think I found out what's in these pills that Tobias has been taking, and it's gonna shock you. The pills that Tobias has been ingesting contain turpentine, camphor, metabolic steroids, ground caffeine pills, and lead. A majority of these are highly harmful to a normal person's body, said Bobbert.
They might be boosting his physicality and charisma, but they're affecting his mental and emotional state and brain power, and are negatively affecting his physical health. Side effects include aggression, degradation of the brain, muscle spasms, nausea, heart palpitations, seizures, and in worst cases, death. Someone needs to tell Tobias that these things are doing more harm than good, said Alan. Suddenly they heard an inhuman scream. There was a commotion going on. What's going on? Gumball blurted out as he looked to see Tobias running on a rampage searching for the bottled pills that Gumball found. He had upturned the dumpster and uprooted playground equipment. Ocho was speeding through the hallways of the school. Run! Tobias has gone psycho! Ocho shrieked, freaking out as the 8-bit spider ran for his life. Tobias's eyes were now bloodshot, as if he had never slept since taking those pills for the first time. Where are they? Tobias bellowed, wondering if the pills he was taking were. Dude, those pills are harming your body, said Gumball, facing Tobias. Anais looked at them over with Bobbert, and they're what's causing you to turn all psycho. He then grabbed Tobias's wrist. I'm taking you to see the nurse. She'll know what to do. Tobias's eyes narrowed, and he viciously punched Gumball into a wall. He then got onto the blue-colored cat and began violently beating him with his bare fist. Touch me! Do it! Touch me! Lay your hands on me again! I dare you! Do it, Watterson! I'll kill you! I'll get a gun and kill you! Tobias roared as he punched Gumball. Gumball now had a black eye, a broken nose, and he was missing some teeth. Tobias started to strangle Gumball with the intent of breaking his neck. Get off him, said Anais. She then bit Tobias, who responded by backhanding her into a locker hard. Anais! Darwin, Allen, Carrie, Bobbert, Banana Joe, Anton, Penny, and Tina gasped as they runched to the little rabbit girl. Anais was silent until she started crying her little eyes out. Gumball wrestled Tobias off him and raced to Anais's side, showing concern. Anais had a gash on her little forehead, and it was bleeding. He then looked at Tobias with tears of rage in his eyes. What is your freaking problem, Wilson? Gumball snapped, glaring at the jock. You just hit my little sister. You could have killed her, said Penny, glaring at Tobias. For Dirk's sake, she's only 4 years old. You should be expelled from school, said Banana Joe, glaring at Tobias, who looked horrified. Forget expelled, you should be in prison, not juvenile hall. Prison, said Anton. Mr. Small looked horrified and dialed emergency services. An ambulance arrived to take Anais to the hospital with Gumball. Tobias was being led out of the school in handcuffs. Tobias Wilson, you are officially expelled from Elmore Junior High, said Principal Brown. Go ahead, Principal Frown. I'll burn your house down tonight, said Tobias. He then broke free and ran off. We're going to file assault and battery charges against Tobias, said Richard, who was livid that Tobias had nearly killed Gumball and Anais. Later it was revealed that Tobias had gotten a criminal record at only 12 years old for his daily fix of supercharge. He would commit assault and battery, breaking and entering, arson, and more. He even stole money from his parents' house and vandalized Gumball and Co.'s houses. The donut cops staged a manhunt on Tobias. When they cornered him, they looked to see him down a half bottle of pills. That's when things went dark fast. Tobias crumpled to the ground and started twitching violently, with foam oozing out of his mouth and his pupils were dilating. He was having a full-blown seizure. I got scared. I had an uncle who oftentimes had really bad seizures. Holy smoke, he overdosed! The donut cop exclaimed. The other cops contacted the hospital, but it was too late. Tobias had died. Following Tobias's passing, Tobias's parents moved away, and the Elmore Police District cracked down on criminals who sold illicit substances to minors. The arrest rate skyrocketed within days. Real life isn't a cartoon. All it takes is one dose to cause your life to go downhill. Truer words couldn't be said more. I swore off drugs and alcohol altogether. Huh. Well, I mean, it's a kids show being remade on HBO Max, so I wasn't expecting it to be too funny. Not after the last one they made. Story number 11. The Park Ranger. This story may seem a bit unbelievable, but it happened. I'm kind of putting myself out there a little, detailing my job and the like. but this is one of the scariest experiences I had working out in the wilderness, and I know you people like to read spooky stories at night. So, whenever you're out and about, camping or whatever, feel free to tell this story. I work near Eugene, Oregon as a park manager. A few weeks ago, I was on a fire watch towards the sunset and was out hiking a little more than half mile from my tower. Usually I get nothing more than hikers and the occasional deer. But the afternight was different. After about an hour's long patrol, I returned to my tower for a Dr. Pepper and sat out there on the deck watching the sunset. Through the corner of my eyes, I saw something move at the foot of the tower, near the clearing in which it stands. I took my sunglasses off to try to get a better look and nothing. I called it into my radio and, having nothing better to do, walked down the stairs and gave the area another look around. When I shined my flashlight about the area, I heard a branch snap. Something nearby, something large. Fearing it was a black bear, I shouted and made as much noise as possible, hoping to spook it, but got nothing. Another branch snapped behind me. Some 6 feet, I turned. Nothing. Leaves rustled around me as whatever it was moved around me, pacing me, trying to keep an eye on me. All the while I felt the unmistakable presence of something large, and occasionally heard branches snap. I began to walk back to the tower, carefully, when I saw a brush on the other side of the end of the clearing get pulled away, and a shadowy figure emerge. I ran, hand up my radio, called for help, and got a squelching response. I ran deeper into the woods. Snap, 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 rustling, rustling, rustling. I ran hard and hid behind a tree. The sound stopped whatever I did. After a few moments, I paused, trying to catch my bearings. I stepped out from behind the tree and shined a mag light around. Nothing. Another branch snap. I turned, now worried out of my head, and felt something slam against my back. I hit the ground. I rolled and shouted in fright, fumbling in the dark for my flashlight, rolling onto my back. I aimed the flashlight up unsteadily and caught the glint of light on grass. A skeletal hand lifted the mouth of the trumpet up to a skull's teeth, and the phantom lungs played a simple 2-note song, and I shit myself in fear. Story number 12. God Saves the Day by Reddit user Ayn Rand Roosevelt. An atheist, liberal, pacifist, Democrat, evolutionist, Muslim, feminist, socialist, gay, Jew, communist, Catholic, unionist, abortionist, professor, and a member of the ACLU and NAACP, was bitching at a college class, and she told the class that she was a strong, independent, menstruating woman, and that she was going to prove that there is no God, peace be upon him. She screamed, "God, if you are real, then I want you to knock me off this platform. I'll give you 15 human minutes. And I'm glad all those people died on 9/11. Also, all men are rapists and I have abortions for fun." 10 earthling minutes went by. She kept taunting God, peace be upon him, saying, "Here I am, God, if that's your real name. I'm still waiting. Is my strong, powerful, and financially independent vagina too much for your patriarchy? You stupid man." She got down to the last couple of minutes, and a brave, patriotic, pro-life Marine just returned from the War of Independence and honorably discharged and newly registered in every class backflipped up to the professor, hit her full force in the face with a spinning flying dropkick with metal as fuck jet boots on, and sent her flying from her platform through 2 panes of glass, 2 twin towers, a pile of cans, a young mother pushing a baby carriage, a nun, and a pile of boxes. The professor struggled up, obviously shaken, with 3 broken legs, 2 broken arms, a broken jaw, a broken skull, 12 broken ribs, internal bleeding, and a missing spine. She bitched, "What's the matter with you? Why did you do that? Are you afraid of a strong, beautiful Negro woman? You stupid Christian, I only worship my vagina." The Marine replied, "God, peace be upon him, was busy watching over my puppies engaged in combat in the Cold voice again repeated. So he said me. The professor cried a single tear and said, I was wrong to want equal rights for homosexuals, women, and minorities. Barry Hussein Obama is a Muslim socialist atheist and he hates America. I'm now pro-life, pro-guns, and pro-capital punishment. The professor then burnt her copy of Origin of the Species, shaved her legs, put her bra back on, and started to make the Marine a sandwich. If Trayvon Martin didn't want to die, he should have not been wearing a hoodie. Welcome to the Republican Party, said the Marine. The students applauded and all registered with the Republican Party that day and accepted Jesus as their Lord and Savior. An eagle named Small Government flew into the room and perched atop the American flag, where it shed a single tear. That professor was Richard Elizabeth Dawkins. The college class was the Beatles. The young mother was Sarah Palin. The nun was Michelle Bachmann. The eagle was Ron Paul, and the Marine's name? Albert Einstein. Story number 13. Your Mother. Long ago in a galaxy far, far away, your mother and I were eating pasta. After horking down the meal, she farted loudly and left the room. I was so terrified by the horrifying tragedy that I destroyed my computer at once. I later began to experience awful nightmares, which became progressively worse until I promptly committed suicide by cutting my wrists. Afterwards, I got on my computer and wrote this story so other people may know of the devastating events that now haunt every waking moment of my life, and fill my dreams with terror and fright. Story number 14. Butcher Shop. You're extremely tired after working one day. You just want to go home and cook some steak on the grill on a crisp, cool spring evening. You forgot to buy meat. That's okay. You'll just head over to the butcher shop. You enter the butcher shop. The butcher acts seriously strange, and his apron is stained with a lot of blood. You pass it off as a scare tactic. Hey, could you get me a pound of ground chuck? You say to the butcher. Sure, he says in a low, demonic, raspy voice. You think that the butcher is just sick. He hands you the meat and you hand him the money. As you walk out, you exclaim loudly to yourself, Wow, I'm really glad this isn't human meat. You hear the butcher laughing from inside the shop. Story number 15. It all happened when I was in the shower. By Mr. Pizza, please. I was in the shower, and then it happened. I was singing Wake Me Up Before You Go Go by Wham very loudly, and then it happened. I got a phone call because I had my phone in the shower because my dad works at Apple and I have a waterproof phone. Long story. But anyways, that's when it happened. I got a call from a number. The number was 666-666-6666. I picked up the phone with my hand and slid the unlocky thingy to answer the phone because I was getting a phone call. And that's when it happened. The man on the other line, well, technically it isn't a line anymore because it's a cell phone and not an old phone because those used to actually be connected by lines, but now we don't use that old technology anymore, but we use the same terminology out of convenience. That's when I heard the voice on the line. Hello, the voice said. Well, technically not the phone. Phones don't talk, they just transmit what the other person on the other line, not really a line, says. That's when I heard the rest of the voice. This is Satan. The voice, not the phone, said. Please shut the fuck, I hate that song. Okay, bye. I was dumbfounded and honestly Satan hurt my feelings because I thought I was hitting the notes pretty well. You, Satan, that was mean. Anyways, am I the asshole? Story number 16. The Very Scary Guy by Socially Squat. Once upon a time it was a dark and stormy night. I was jacking off. It was 4 a.m. I'm unemployed. So what? Get off my case. After I was done jacking off, I was off to bed. I leaned back, put my head on the pillow, and reached for my peanut butter jar. It's part of my sleep ritual. I rub peanut butter on myself. So what? Get off my case. The peanut butter helps me sleep. So anyway, I closed my eyes and I'm about to fall asleep when I start to hear a helicopter overhead. It was all like, and it got further away and I thought to myself, just a regular helicopter. And soon enough the copter was back. Maybe a different copter, maybe the same one. So I look out the window and there's the helicopter shining its light on the neighborhood. It shines its light on my face, which is staring through the blinds in my window. And then I hear a weird growl noise. It sounds like a person making a growl noise, and I see him. It was Norm Macdonald wearing a black leather jumpsuit, like Edward Scissorhands or some shit. He knocked at my door and said in his voice, "Hey, let me in!" He wouldn't stop knocking. The helicopter landed on the street outside my house, and someone jumped out of the helicopter and sprayed Norm Macdonald with what I assume was either mace or Febreze. The helicopter guy left after that. Norm Macdonald's head spun all the way around and he crawled on the roof of my house on all fours. He died on my roof, I think, and he's been up there since.
Story number 17. Oh Heck, Oh Frick, by Mystical Taker. So here I was, just minding my own business, eating pepper jack cheese. Those are fucking amazing, in the bathtub like any sane person would do on a Wednesday night, after a stressful day at work shucking corn. I was listening to some ocean whitefish tuna swimming in MP3 form when suddenly I choked on a cracker and almost died. I couldn't believe my beady little eyes. Material right in front of me was Sam Loomis himself. He's the dude in Bates Motel. I think he's also the boyfriend in Psycho, and the doctor in Halloween, but this was actually the Bates Motel guy. Speaking of Loomis, that reminds me of the word loom, as in Fruit of the Loom, which totally had a cornucopia logo, right? My idiot coworker doesn't even know what a cornucopia is. I hate him, and his stupid face. Anyway, Sam Loomis was sitting there, right in my bathtub. Thankfully he was wearing his clothes, but since this is r/no sleep, it has to be creepy. So he did have his stab wounds. 28 stab wounds. "Dude, how did you get into my bathtub?" I asked him. He was busy headbanging at nothing. I tossed a cracker at him and it bonked onto his forehead and gracelessly dropped into the water, sinking as it got soggy. I raided Walmart's stock of these babies and I wanted just one precious cracker nugget on this loser. "Hello?" I asked Mr. Loomis, waving my hands in front of his face. "Why are you here?" Then I realized he was a ghost, and even worse, he had AirPods in, so he couldn't hear me. "Sam Loomis, watch out. You're in a stranger's bathtub. You're dead. He can't hear me. Oh, Godzilla, oh f***, he's got AirPods in. He can't hear me." Story number 18. Shadow the Demon, by That Shady Dude. Alright everybody, I'm That Shady Dude. You don't know me yet, but soon you will. I want to tell you of what happened to me a month ago. This will be a log one, as these will be pretty long, I guess. I should start off with the start a few years ago. I studied under an ancient man in Japan, whose name I shall not give. He taught me the arts of ninjutsu, along with my brother, but my brother was evil at heart, and I knew it. I told Sensei this, and he agreed to stop teaching him. He grew angry over this and killed Sensei. I am old at 57. I can't do much more fighting. I was visited by my brother last month, and it was as suspected. He was evil over the past 30 years. He has ran a hitman business of assassin ninjas that he has trained. They dress Akatsuki. Me and my bro like Naruto as kids, that's why we learn ninjutsu. They wear devil eye contacts and have no fingerprints. They also dye and cut their hair a lot. Anyway, I am warning you right now to stay away from them if you see them, but it doesn't matter. Ways as you will already be dead. He is their leader now and goes by the name Shadow. Well, back to the matters. He visited me with a business proposal. He wants me to join his business, but I am good and would never do that. He uses kunais and says throwing knives, smoke grenades. He has a sword on his back and constantly wears his devil contacts as his eyes are bad. If you see this man leave town, leave the country, to as soon as y'all see each other's eyes, he will eventually kill you for the fun of it. He makes tons of money and is raising the top of the underground. Well, that is all I can say for now. I won't rat out my brother's location, plus I'm kind of ranting. I will continue adding onto the page. I feel like it. Please don't delete it, admins. I must admit this is not a creepypasta. This is real. I am telling you to warn you. Who knows, maybe the admins will be his next target. Ah, family problems. You can't choose your family. Story number 19. Iron Man's Quesadilla by Bible Man is Satan. Guys, I just have to relay this story to you. One day, I was watching music when I heard the faint rumbling of noise behind me. Now, guys, this wasn't your ordinary rumbling noise, guys. This noise was like a boom sound, guys. It wasn't low, guys. It was like a plane flying really close to the ground, guys. So I turned around, guys, and saw Tony Stark in my living room. This struck me as odd. Tony Stark was obviously a fictional character. What was he doing in my house? That confused me. This struck me as odd. Why was I confused? I'm confused. Tony suddenly opened his mouth and started screaming, "Where is my quesadilla?" I was quite taken aback. I had no idea Iron Man liked quesadillas. Speaking of Iron Man, Tony's appearance was quite strange. He was wearing the normal suit, but it had the number 666 written on it, in what appeared to be blood. I thought nothing more of this, however, as Tony suddenly started screaming again. He screamed and screamed and screamed and screamed and screamed and screamed. He must really like quesadillas. Just then, blood started running down his face. I was quite freaked out. I mean, Iron Man, a fictional character, is in my house and he's bleeding out of his eye sockets. I thought nothing more of this, however, as Tony suddenly started to scream again. I did what any normal person would do, and went to the nearest restaurant for a quesadilla. When I finally got back home with the quesadilla, Iron Man had appeared much differently. Though there was still blood running down his face, his suit was now entirely black. This confused me, as Iron Man's suit changed colors from red to black. I was confused. I didn't have any spare moments to dwell on my confusion, as Iron Man suddenly started to run towards the quesadilla I had in my hands. Shrieking, I threw the quesadilla at Tony. I underestimated my strength, however, and the quesadilla landed right in front of him. At this moment, Tony was so angry, I was barely able to snap this picture of him before he started charging at me. Tony pulled a very sharp knife from the alternate dimension contained inside my living room and stabbed me with it. I began to bleed the most realistic blood I ever bled. Tony then began to suck my blood, as I felt the life drain out of me. I made my way over to the desktop computer to type this story. As I type this, Tony is still drinking my blood. I'm scared. My arms have begun to feel like a tortilla, while my torso has taken on a grated cheese form. My legs are slowly becoming chicken breasts. Iron Man is turning me into a quesadilla. Iron Man will turn everyone into quesadillas. Story number 20. Cave Story.exe AVI by Unknown. So one day I was watching TV when I saw a box that appeared in my lap 10 hours ago. I wondered why my mother hasn't killed me because she hates me to fart on her good couch. I decided to open the 10-ton box that was now crushing my pelvis, which I only hoped that could happen if I had snoo with giants. I opened it up and it was a game labeled Life Smoogle. I was like, WTF? But then I realized some weird pirated game or some crap that was probably Korean or some crap. I put it on my computer disk slot, which didn't work since it was a PS2 game, so I put it in my DS and it started up. It turned out that it was Cave Story in Vietnam, or however the fire truck you spell that. Sorry you had to read that, Mom. I was like, ducks on bread! I started it up. There was a guy with a minigun saying, "Who dares to fight the Hoovie?" I licked the screen with disgust. I noted that there was an egg that was coming out of his butt that turned into Shrek. I got turned on somehow, mainly because he is love, and he is life. I was getting a bit weirded out.
How could I play as Shrek in a classic cave story game? For crying out loud! I barfed on the box for no apparent reason. No, seriously, I just puked. I think my gag reflexes are seriously messed up. Then I saw what I believed to be a devil, demon, 666, evil, 2012 apocalypse version of quote. I looked at him and prayed to the ceiling cat that he didn't puke murder. He did. I've became a atheist. I realized he might kill Shrek, so I screamed, "No, llama, no!" Quote looked at me with no expression. That said to me, "I am God." It didn't affect me as much, mainly because I am now an atheist. I decided that I must take serious action. So I grabbed a AK-47, I jumped into my screen, found myself face to face with evil quote. He shot blood out of his eyes at me. I retaliated with the shot of my gun. He took 99999 damage and died. I woke up from the dream I'd been having since been unconscious from trying to jump onto a freaking game screen. It said that I defeated quote and won. I was so glad. Then I heard a noise behind me. Well, actually I didn't, because quote can't talk. But I looked behind me and there was quote action figure with blood under his eyes. I said, "Just a normal Wednesday." Story 21. Does anyone know a good plumber? By Reddit user Narrative of the Life. Does anyone know a good plumber? I f***ed up one of those stupid small ritual things that everyone is doing and my shower is leaking, and also there's some faceless guy in my kitchen. My landlord comes tomorrow and he's going to kill me, especially because I also have a cat and I'm not even supposed to have pets. It all started when I was drunk messaging a girl on Tinder, and she said that the only way we would meet up is if I did this weird ritual thing where I summon a ghost or some shit. I think she called it mea culpa or something. Actually, her exact message was, "The decaying flesh will not rest. I am the Alpha and Omega. I have seen the burning cities to consume the earth." Link to ritual instructions. Our souls meet when darkness spills mea culpa, mea culpa, mea culpa. She was a weird chick. At least I think she was a girl. I couldn't really see her face. Her picture was just a black background with two shiny dots that kind of looked like eyeballs. You could sort of see features, but it looked like her face was gray. I couldn't really see her mouth. But she had really good skin. I wasn't about to rally for a pizza face. So, anyway, I weighed the pros and cons of spooky rituals versus trampoline booty as best as I could on 5 shots of Trump. It was totally worth it. I set my cell phone to 3:26 a.m., but since my phone is a 2005 Motorola Razr that was dropped in the toilet several times, it went off at 4 a.m. I decided to go through the ritual anyway. I was also supposed to have a friend during this thing, but my bestie recently got incarcerated for selling heroin on the corner of Patterson Park and Eastern Avenue. Shout out to my main man, Roscoe. Anyway, I sat up and turned off my alarm, but the moment I turned it off, I drunkenly passed out again. I woke up 20 minutes later, and actually got out of bed this time, stumbling around the room in the dark, because apparently you're not supposed to turn on the lights, because if you do, a ghost will pop out. Ooh. I was supposed to find a candle and light it, but my hangover just made me trip over one of the several candles I placed on my floor. Eventually I gave up and flipped the lights on, grabbing a candle from my desk. I squinted out my window to see what my ghetto Baltimore neighborhood looked like at 4:20 a.m. The street was empty except for some rando wearing a black robe and a giant pointy black hat. He was staring up at me through the window. I couldn't really see his face. You know, Baltimore has gone to the f***ing dogs. First gang wars, now an updated KKK. For God's sake. I lit the candle and looked at my phone. I was supposed to knock on my bedroom door 66 times. The 66th knock timed on the 406. But since I had f***ed everything else up, I just did a shave and a haircut knock, and then walked into my hallway. My bedroom door is opposite the stairs, and looking down the dark stairwell was pretty spooky. I thought I saw something move on top of the lower steps. For the next step, I was supposed to close my eyes and walk forward while chanting mea culpa, mea culpa, which is Italian for my culpa, which is probably some kind of Italian car. I tried to close my eyes and walk forward while talking about Italian cars, but my cat, Fish Sticks, ran under my feet and I ended up tripping over him and falling down a flight of stairs. At some point the stupid candle went out and I flailed down the stairs, but I was too concussed to care. I rolled up from the ground, groaning, and decided that I would just continue to go through the motions, which meant hiding in a closet and waiting for the ghost to play hide-and-seek with me. I chose the kitchen pantry because I had some open potato chips in there, so I made my way back. As I stumbled, I heard several soft whispers behind me. I spun around hoping that I was right about Fish Sticks knowing how to talk, but there was no one there, except for the figure standing in the corner. I stopped, blinked, and it was gone. I really needed to lay off the Patron. As I honed in on the closet, the alcohol and concussion finally caught up with me and I stumbled to a stop, doubling over and vomiting watery Patron all over my kitchen floor. Fuck! My ass was landlord grass. The hellish combination of alcohol, concussion, post-vomit, and a looming eviction notice caused my emotions to go haywire, and unleashed a violent sob, mucus and tears rivering down my face. I heard a noise outside the kitchen. My eyes fell on the kitchen window, and I spied that stupid gang member / KKK dude in my backyard, still staring at me. I must have looked like an idiot weeping in front of my kitchen pantry, too ashamed to confront him. I just crawled into the pantry and shut the door. It was so cold in there, it damn froze my man titties off. My air conditioner was probably broken. I definitely needed to call the landlord, but that would mean sedating Fish Sticks and stuffing him in a suitcase under my bed. At this point I realized I need to reevaluate my life. Maybe I shouldn't drink as much. Maybe I should give Fish Sticks to a good home. Maybe I should find women with intellect and poise. Maybe I should move out of my shit neighborhood where KKK people roam around at 4 a.m. After going through an entire existential crisis in my pantry, I decided to say f*** it and end the stupid ritual. That Tinder girl wasn't even that hot anyway. And besides, I had like 70 more ritual things to complete, which included lighting 8 more candles, stabbing a Japanese doll, and spinning around in a circle while screaming, "You're it! You're it!" This was all supposed to culminate in me going to my basement, sitting in front of a mirror, and looking into the mirror, but not actually looking into it, which made absolutely no sense. As I got up to open the pantry door, I heard a low moan coming from behind the door. I froze. I prayed to God it wasn't my landlord. I cracked open the door to see the gang member / KKK guy standing in the kitchen, staring at me. I finally got a good look at him. He definitely didn't have a face. I guess getting your face taken away is part of a gang ritual now. He didn't react to my presence, he just stared. I didn't know how the hell to deal with gang members or faceless KKK members, so I just stared back. We did this for about 5 minutes before I slowly inched out of the kitchen and back upstairs. He turned to watch me as I went, but didn't move. So after that I went up to the bathroom to take a shower, and now my shower head is leaking, which I blame on the spiritual ritual. So if you guys know any good plumbers in the Baltimore area, I'd really appreciate it.
Story number 22, The Polish Nap Experiment, by Unknown. It's been 69 days since they started this experiment. Not really sure what it's for, but they say we'll find out soon. We sure do know what we have to do. Go 6 months without sleeping / napping. It's the napping part that horrifies me the most. A man needs his naps, you know. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not a lazy person. I at least go outside 2.5 times a month. They, evil Patricks, and some other Polish people, sometimes get dildos with razors attached to them and shoves it up our arse. They say it gives us a burst of energy. It's just an excuse so that them sex-craving ass can f*** us. For entertainment in this godforsaken place, well, what they call entertainment, we get pumped by a large dildo with sharp blades attached along the sides. Food, we get fed chopped off limbs, and drink is the sweat from evil Patrick's balls. It's a see-through yet murky liquid that looks like it has some yellow dandruff in it. I'm pretty sure there's more to this experiment than just napping. I need to find out more about evil Patrick's and his Polish henchmen, how we got here, and why we need to do this experiment. 2 days later. So I know a bit more about what the experiment is for. I quickly snuck out of their tiny white-walled room and into their, room, I guess. It was simply a long table with chairs in it. I noticed that they were sitting on the chairs, but I was seeing them from a soundproof window. All I heard was muffled discussions. I had to get the door slightly ajar to hear anything. Being the stealthy motherfucker that I am, I listened in while making no noise at all. All I heard was someone saying, "When will we tell them that we are only keeping them as sex toys?" We don't. That was enough. I needed to know. I roller skated back into our room and sat down. Looks like this isn't an experiment after all. But I still need to know why we can't nap. I drank my ball sweat, then rolled around for a few hours. 6 days later. It turns out this is kind of an experiment. I did the same thing from a few days ago, and now I know that they are going to see if we die of tiredness from our orgasms, lack of sleep, and lack of food. But the lack of food has just gotten worse. The arms and legs that we eat is apparently from Brits. There is now a lack of people in Britain, as Harry Potter has cast a ritual to kill all of them. So what do we eat, you ask? Ourselves, and the others around us. It's actually surprisingly tasty. 6 hours later, I did the usual sneak into Polish people's room, and I saw them noting results of what they were doing. Cannibalistic test has executed results showing positive. The man then stuck the note on, I can't believe I never noticed it before, a wall saying, "Important notes." Thank you, gentlemen. The Polish people and evil Patrick's stood up and they were going over to the door. Oh damn, they were walking in my direction. I quickly hid behind a grain of sand, and sure enough, they didn't see me. I inspected the wall, and on it there were all sorts of notes. Some even saying, "Harry Potter has done a ritual. A pay of 50 tea bags has been shipped this way." And, "Dildos needing sharpened, subjects are showing less pain." So does that mean Polish people are shippers? And that us subjects are being pain-stricken so that they can get pleasure from our pain? 3 days later. My left arm is gone. Damn it, Johnny, that was my writing hand. 3 of us subjects remain. We ate the others. Patrick's balls are sweating less, which means we get less drink. So we drink each other's blood. The stupid nap experiment turned us into psychotic cannibals. I'm kinda tired, but Patrick said that if we sleep, we get burned to death. Ugh. Damn, I'm really tired. All this human eating has made me really sleepy. 8 hours later. Damn it, I slept. But I didn't get burned alive. Instead, when I woke up, I was in a very, very large room, and a loud voice stated, "Subject number Sp00ky survived 81 days. You can go home now." When the voice said that, a large door slowly opened. Outside looked very bright from me, being inside for so long. I sprinted as fast as I could. Yes! I was welcome to subject number 4 to the Russian sleep experiment. Oh, for God's sakes. Story number 23. The Haunted Paperclip by Unknown. It was a typical day when I was drinking my chocolate milk while playing Superman 64 when I noticed something odd. The mailman came, but he looked sad and depressed. He placed a package in front of my doorstep and immediately started running as fast as he could away from my house. I put down Superman 64 and picked up my chocolate milk, and I opened the door. I opened the package only to find a paperclip, a note, a used condom, and a note. The note was handwritten, and it seems as though it was rushed. It said, "You have been cursed by the haunted paperclip. Sincerely, Old Man." It was then I realized I had been cursed by the haunted paperclip. I was scared, but what should I do? I started freaking out. I knew I had to act fast. 3:41 p.m. I looked up how to remove a curse online and found a YouTube comment that could help me out. It's a common sense that YouTube comments are always true, so I am relieved I could find an answer. It says that to remove the curse I must drink a bowl of pigeon soup. Luckily my friend went to ninja camp so he can get some dead pigeons without being noticed.
4:23 p.m. I hear him knock, so I am opening the door. He gives me the instructions on how to boil it, so I am taking the pigeon to the kitchen right now. 5:16 p.m. The pigeon soup tastes disgusting, so I put some honey in it. Unfortunately, I swallowed the beak. It was stuck in my throat, and I had to find some way to get it out. I am PMing the YouTuber who gave me advice on how to get rid of the curse, and now I wait. 5:34 p.m. He finally messaged me back. He says that to remove the beak, I must eat applesauce for a week. That guy's a genius. 1 week later, I got the beak out. Now I can go back to playing Superman 64. Yay! Happy ending! Story number 24. The Deutsch Dog. Bisexual Santa Claus. Everyone about to read this, be warned. This is a nightmare waiting to happen. You will be scarred for life once you read this and will defecate your pants. I used to know this girl when I was young. Let's just call her Deutsch. She was walking home from school and became hungry. Once she walked into her home, her mother turned around and was a zombie! Deutsch squealed and her mom violently queefed. After their usual greeting, Deutsch asked her mother for nourishment. At approximately 3:45, Deutsch's mother brought her boiled cabbage and strawberry paste. Deutsch burst into a fit of rage and threw said paste at her cat, Dr. Robotnik. He squealed and queefed before walking out of the room. Deutsch screamed at her mother, "I'm sick of your shitty food! I want a hot dog!" Her mother, let's call her Tim, began to sob and explained, "You know I can't make hot dogs. Not after what happened." USSR, 1938. Tim was walking through the disease-ridden streets with her pet cow, Clara, when Stalin himself burst from the shadows and punched her in the dick. He ordered his 2 bodyguards, Dmitri and insert other generic Slavic name, to beat and poop on her. She was beaten and pooped on for 3 whole days. After she was beaten and pooped on, the 2 bodyguards shuffled in a circle yelling, "Soiled it, soiled it, soiled it." They left feeling proud of themselves. Weeks later, our dear friend Tim went to the doctor's office, discovering she was poop pregnant. Her body absorbed the fecal matter and made her pregnant with a shit baby. The doctor told her that besides bruised face and other horrific life-threatening injuries, she was about to bear a poop child. "Twins!" the doctor exclaimed. "Hot dog!" Tim was overjoyed and moved on. "That's why I can't make hot dogs," shouted Tim. Deutsch was confused and asked if she was that poop child. Tim said, "Follow me." Deutsch followed her mother down the stairs to the basement. She asked, "Mom, why is there a buffalo chained to the wall? Is that what you wanted to show me?" "No, that's a side project. What I brought you down here is to show you is this," Tim explained. Deutsch looked in horror as Tim removed the curtain, revealing a cage. Inside the cage was a hot dog human hybrid. Deutsch's mind swirled with questions, but Tim began to explain. "Her name is Jelena. She has been sitting in this cage for over 45 years. She used to be allowed outside until the incident. She was in her kindergarten class when she went on a rampage after a teacher put her in the timeout corner. She began to absorb the other children and could not be stopped. Ever since then, she's been here in the basement." Deutsch yelled, "We have to tell someone!" Tim jumped towards her and punched her in the dick. "You can't tell anybody." Deutsch ran from the house and jaunted over to the police station and turned in her mother. When the police arrived, they searched the house, and what Police Chief Dmitry Pupulov saw blew his mind. He flew back in time to one special day, perhaps the best day of his Soviet life. He went over to Tim and asked for a word alone. She agreed that they went to talk in the kitchen. Dmitri spoke gently to her, saying, "That child of yours, Jelena, I think it was. She has a very important place in this world, and you must let her roam free." Tim responded, "But she's a monster. I can't let her back into the world. Who knows what she'll do?" Dmitri spoke firmly. "But you don't understand. Her father, he was one of the bodyguards. He took a huge dump on you that day, long ago. I was the other." Jelena overheard this dramatic response that she was a poop baby and tore open her cage. She roams free now and silently stalks everyone that ever utters the word hot dog. Once she catches them, she absorbs them and releases their carcasses in a thick strawberry paste. And so that's the story of How I Met Your Mother.
Well, that's the last story. Thank you for watching if you've made it this far. Remember to like, comment, and share. If I missed some authors in this one, feel free to leave a comment down below, crediting the real authors for whatever story I missed or said was unknown. If you want to see more of my fun and fascinating content, I have a Kick and Twitch that I will leave a link for down in the description. Other than that, have a great day, and remember, Hail Eris!